It's one of the best weekends for sports. 5 straight NFL playoff games, plus another one tonight. A couple college playoff games kind of leading into the weekend. And the Phoenix Suns winning games. 3 in a row, 4 of their last 5.
Well, you know what, honestly, how about you, Basinoni? Just sit around all weekend watching these games, 2, of course, on Saturday, 3 on Sunday. We got a game tonight as well. I'm very interested in watching that game. But even then, you had 3 games on yesterday, and you had the Suns playing yesterday as well. That was... Thank goodness for DVR, correct?
Yeah, well, especially because the Suns were playing during by far the best game of the playoffs so far. I don't care if they're low-scoring games, high-scoring games, but most of them haven't really been all that competitive by the time the fourth quarter rolls around yet. But last night's game was the exception to that. Let's start with the Suns, though, Wolf. They've won 3 in a row. They're 4-1 in their last 5. I know they haven't played anybody good. We talked about that last week, that they were going into a stretch where they weren't going to be playing a lot of good teams, and they still aren't. Their next 3 games, Atlanta's fine, but Washington is struggling, and Detroit's fine. I mean, but they're not playing anybody amazing until they get into that Cleveland game a week from today. We talked about this last week. This is a stretch where you're playing very winnable games. It still matters to me that they're winning them.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. We were talking about this before, Luke. You'd much rather see the Phoenix Suns rectify the situation, fix the situation. I know everyone's looking at Jimmy Butler, including myself. Oh, my goodness. Raise your hand right now if you'd like to see that happen. I just don't know if that's the easiest way to do this. I don't know if that actually is going to work. And when I say that, I'm talking about all the moving parts in regard to Jimmy Butler. The moving parts, and, oh, you know what, by the way, I want you to pay me, Matt Ishbia, millions and millions and millions of dollars, okay? Kind of my golden parachute going into my retirement. I don't like that. It's clouding the deal and what he actually brings to the team. It's really making it a lot more complex.
It's really... I don't know. If you told me this afternoon, hey, Suns pulled off a trade for Jimmy Butler, would I be excited to see what could happen? Absolutely, yes. I don't think we're seeing the best of Jimmy Butler right now, though, in Miami, because the perception he's giving off is, yeah, just wherever pays me. And that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
But you're asking for somebody to come in here, be fired up, right attitude, lead. We know he can produce points. They already have guys that can produce. They already have talented players. Bradley Beal's a talented player. But if you're selling me on Jimmy Butler and what that's going to take and what you're going to have to pay, him going forward, I want some intangibles, and that's not that Jimmy Butler doesn't have them, and that's what I'm kind of wrestling with. We know what he brings to the table, but right now he's just pouting in Miami because they haven't guaranteed him he's going to get paid in 2 years.
Yeah, no, I got fired up too about the Jimmy Butler thing. I'm all on board with that. I really am. But having said that, Basinonians, right now, and I said this at the time, listen. Before it got really, really bad, before the first Charlotte game, okay, when we were still looking, because that was bad. The Charlotte game was let's face it, it was an eye opener for all of us. We just looked at that thing and said something has got to give here. It was bad. It was a wake up call. There's no doubt about that. At the same time, do I wish it was just a wake up call to the Phoenix Suns? Yes. So we don't have to go through all the machinations here in regard to Jimmy Butler. Yes, I would love it to be just about that right there. You know what? Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, be better, do better, lead better. That's what I'd like to see. If everything else that is out there right now, the easiest way for the Phoenix Suns to fix this with the roster being what it is right now, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal. Be better, play better, lead better.
So let me throw this at you and get your reaction, because I threw this out last night, and I think for the most part people agree, but some people were like, dude, who cares? They beat Charlotte. I think this does show something, that they've won 4 of their last 5, considering every time you bring up the Phoenix Suns, every time you pop on ESPN or whoever on TV, they're talking about how the Suns have to blow it up, or they have to do this, or they have to do that. They're not going to do anything until they get Jimmy Butler, or they're sending Bradley Beal to the bench because they want to run him out of town, or KD this, or Booker. They've won 4 of their last 5 with all of that going on. Now, I get it. They've beaten Philadelphia without Embiid, Atlanta, Utah, and Charlotte. I understand that.
And you have to say it.
But we've seen a lot of teams. Now, I feel like we see this more so in the NBA than like the NFL, where if a team is like the vultures are starting to circle, a lot of times NBA teams just kind of fold. They kind of break, and that's it. And, okay, we're waiting around for this Jimmy Butler trade, and until it happens, we're just broken. They have won 4 of their last 5. That to me, does show something. That they're still fighting.
Well, to me, it shows they care.
Yes.
Okay, they care.
They haven't turned on each other.
It's not like KD quit. He has not quit. It's not like Devin Booker has quit. He has not. Bradley Beal has accepted his role. They're 4-1 now with this new lineup.
Yeah.
With Bradley Beal coming off the bench. And we're going to talk about this, and we're going to get into it in great detail as the show unfolds. But 25-10, 25, 12, and 15. That's what Bradley Beal has scored in those 5 games coming off the bench. Okay, so it's kind of been a little up and down, yet at the same time, this is a brand new role for Bradley Beal. And yet at the same time, I believe this is one he's ultimately going to embrace.
Well, I got some numbers to build off your numbers, okay?
Okay.
With Bradley Beal. So the 5 games that he's played, like you said, they've won 4 of the 5, okay? He's playing 32 minutes a game. His season average with those mixed in is 33 minutes a game. So it's not like,
right.
Like we said last week, it's not like you're benching your starting quarterback. Hey, Brad, you're going to play 1 less minute a game. He's averaging 17.4 points per game. His season average is 17.7.
Yes.
So he's basically as productive, and he's playing 1 less minute a game, and the team is winning.
Yes.
Now, again, I'm not saying that this would be happening if they were playing the Celtics and Oklahoma City every night. I'm not saying that the Suns have turned the corner and they're going to win the championship, and I understand that was the expectation coming in, and you can't really change that mid-season because you've gone all in with this roster. But I'm saying compared to where they were a week ago when everybody was talking about, and I don't mean locally, I mean nationally, talking about how you have to blow this roster up and do this and that, they are at least still fighting, and Bradley Beal on the bench is working.
Yeah, and again, it really isn't who starts a game, Basinonians. It's who finishes the game. Who's out of the floor when it's go time? Who's out of the floor when it's clutch time, of course? Listen, they played some of their best basketball. Some of their best basketball that we have seen the Phoenix Suns play. I understand it was against the Charlotte Hornets and you were home. I understand that. But you have to start somewhere. If, in fact, they're ever going to turn this thing around, you have to start somewhere. And I'm going to start with that, what we saw last night. They played some of their best basketball we've seen from this team when they needed it the most. They went on a 19-5 scoring run at the 5:28 mark, the last 5:28. The last 5:28, they closed out a game and won it in the last 5 minutes, going on a 19-5 run.
Yeah.
That, to me, is encouraging. Should they have ever been in that situation? We can talk about that all day long. We've got a problem here, folks. The Phoenix Suns have a problem. They do. For whatever reason right now, they are not playing up to their talent level. They haven't. They've had a better roster coming into this season than they did last season, but they have not played to that level. They haven't, and we all know that. So again, it starts somewhere. Maybe we're starting to see the fires being kindled here with the Phoenix Suns.
It's 3 wins in a row for the first time in 2 months. So I'm gonna be happy about that at least. The Suns, when things are sounding worse and worse around the team, they are winning more games. And now we'll get into this more later on in the show. It's difficult to have a conversation about the Suns with people without them saying, "Oh, are they going to win the championship now?" Like, no, they've won 3. They've won 3 in a row. They've won 4 or 5. That doesn't mean they're going to win the championship. But at the same time, the very fact that that's where the conversation always goes is indicative of how they built this roster. They didn't build this roster to try and sneak into the playoffs. They built this roster to try and win a title, and that is still a long ways away. I get that, but they're in a much better place right now, I would say, than they were even a week ago.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.